All right, let's talk about this book. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. I'm Christina. So today's video was brought to you by my big brother Gabriel. My brother gifted me this book because he wanted me to read and review it because we are a big fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas. So if you know what book I'm talking about, then that's exciting. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited to talk to you guys about this book. And then also I'd like to just say thank you so much, bro, for giving me this book. I'm glad I got the opportunity to read it. Hopefully I'll do this review justice. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. So today's video is going to be this book right here. This is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Tim Burton, The Nightmare Before Christmas, written by Shea Earnshaw. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive. So this actually has like Sally's little spell book on the back right here, which I haven't really looked through. I'll probably look through that like later on, see what it's all about and see what's in it. So yeah, this book was not on my high TBR at all this year. I hadn't planned on picking it up anytime soon. So when my brother heard about it, he was like, you know what? I've been wanting you to read a book and review it for a while. Something that he picked himself. So he decided to pick this up. He wanted me to read it and review it. So that's what we're doing today. We're following the main character, Sally. We're following her POV. And this is like what's happened after The Nightmare Before Christmas. So this is once she helps Jack save Christmas after he tries to ruin it. This is where we're picking up, is the moment after all that happens. Sack and Jolly, what? Sally and Jack decide to get married, and I think what was super cute about their ceremony was that they got married on the hill where they had their very first kiss. The very first kiss where they confessed their love to one another. And if you don't know what the hill I'm talking about, wait, did that make sense? If you don't know what the hill I'm talking about, that sounds so weird. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. I'll leave a picture on the screen for you so you guys can get the idea of where their little marriage ceremony happened. And yeah, I really like the aspect of that book. So first, let me go ahead and throw this out there to you guys before we really get deep into it all. I am going to give you guys my honest opinion when it comes to this book. Just because I love The Nightmare Before Christmas doesn't mean that I'm not going to give you guys my full honest opinion about it. I put my love for The Nightmare Before Christmas and all the characters aside, and I went into this book as if I've never heard of these characters before. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the book as a whole. I'm not going to just say, oh, just because I love The Nightmare Before Christmas, this is an automatic win. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion about the book. So that way, if you're interested in reading it, you know if it's something that you want to pick up, or if you're 50-50 with it, like you don't know if you want to pick it up because you're nervous you won't like it, or maybe you should pick it up because you might like it. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Whatever. So definitely gonna be some spoilers in this video. If you don't want to be spoiled for the book, don't watch the video. Or if you don't have a problem with being spoiled for the book, then continue to watch. So yeah, we're following Sally. This is her POV, like I mentioned. And her and Jack, they recently just got married. So now she has to uphold this title of being the Pumpkin Queen, since Jack is like essentially like the Pumpkin King. He's literally like the leader of Halloweentown, is where they live. If you didn't know, yeah, they live in the town of Halloween. And all year round, up until October, they are planning for the Halloween for the year. So yeah, they live in Halloween all year round, which is so freaking cool. I wish I could live in Halloween or like in the fall time all year round. I would absolutely love that for sure. Now that Sally's having to uphold this title of the Pumpkin Queen, she's not very used to being out in the open. She's pretty much been like sheltered from the moment she was created. She was like up in the tower with Dr. I don't remember his name. It's actually Dr. Finkenstein. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name, but yeah, she was locked away in his like laboratory for the moment she was created until like she finally would escape. So she's not very much like, she's not used to all of the attention And that's exactly what she's getting after marrying Jack. So it's not very good. Not all of it is very good attention. Some of it is kind of like jealousy, or she hears a lot of like the residents of Halloweentown talking about how she doesn't deserve to be pumpkin queen. And this kind of brings Sally into like a very insecure spot where she is questioning herself, that she doesn't feel like she could uphold the pumpkin queen title. She doesn't feel very queen like. She's always just been very lonely, and she only wants to just be with Jack because she loves him so much, which we hear about so much in the book, is how much she loves Jack, how much he means to her, and how much she just wants him to herself. And it kind of seems a little bit of an obsession. I'm not gonna lie. And that kind of like annoyed me just like a little bit. I'm like, girl, okay, I get it. I get that you love Jack. I get it. We love Jack. But we don't need you to be like constantly reminding us every inner monologue you have. So it got pretty tedious, not gonna lie, when it comes to like her thoughts and her emotions when it came to Jack. Like, she literally, if you read this book, you'll see probably what I'm talking about, how it was very saturated and very repetitive when it came to her love for Jack. And just, that's pretty much all she talked about, is how she wanted him for herself, and she just wanted to live in their home all alone by themselves in their little bubble with no disturbance, no nothing, just them, and that's it. Following up to that, Jack surprises Sally with a little getaway trip to Valentine's Day town, and Sally's super scared about this because she's never left Halloweentown. At least she doesn't think she's ever left Halloweentown. She's always known to just be there. Obviously, she was created there, and I keep doing this because we're gonna get all into that later. But she thinks that, I mean, Halloweentown is literally all she knows, so she's nervous about leaving. But Jack wants to experience things with her, and she wants to make Jack happy, so she agrees to go with him to Valentine's Day, and they end up having a really good time. She ends up meeting the queen of Valentine's Day, and this is where she also realizes like she really is not living up to the queen standards that everybody is expecting of her. She looks nothing like a queen. She doesn't present herself as a queen, and she is not going to be respected as a queen. So this is another thing that's bringing that insecurity inside her, because like I said, she just wants to be with Zach. I keep calling him different names. She just wants to be with Jack. She just wants to make him happy and proud, and no regrets to marrying her. She doesn't really fully trust her feelings. She doesn't really fully trust his feelings for her. And it kind of like, I'm like, girl, he married you. Like, he loves you, and you know it. So yeah, moving forward with that, we go back to Halloweentown because Jack has to start preparing for the upcoming Halloween. It's in about 2 weeks, so he has to get with the mayor and start preparing for this year's Halloween. And while he's out there talking to the mayor, this is when Sally gets a little visit from the 3 witches that live in Halloweentown. They take it upon themselves to let her know like what she has going on, like her attire, her ragdoll look is not working for her anymore, and she needs to change it up now that she's the pumpkin queen. So Sally's just like, well, what do you mean? Like, I love how I look. I love my dress. I love who I am, and I love that for her. So the little the little 3 witches are so mean to her. They're like, no, it's time for you to like leave this behind. And what they end up doing is they end up sewing fabric onto her fabric skin. And I'm like, these bitches right here are so messed up, because instead of measuring Sally and creating a proper dress for her, they're putting the fabric over the dress she already has on and literally sewing it into her fabric skin. If you don't know, Sally's like a rag doll, so she's made out of fabric, and she's stitching all over. I'll insert a picture somewhere on the screen as well, so you can know who I'm talking about, Sally and Jack, and if any other characters that I come across, I'll leave on the screen so you know who I'm talking about. So yeah, I was like, these bitches, they got some nerve. And while they're doing this, they're also talking shit about her right in front of her face. And Sally is like talking in her inner monologue is just like, wow, like, you know, I I love who I am. And she's just like, you know, just talking to herself inside her head. And what comes out of her mouth is like, okay, like she agrees with them, but in her mind she's not agreeing with them. I'm like, girl, speak your mind, because you are the queen and they need to know. But like I said, it's the insecurity thing that really got Sally like second guessing, questioning about whether or not she's worthy enough to uphold this title. So yeah, Sally has had about enough of all the like talking, like bad talking, bad mouthing of her. She decides to run off. She takes off and goes into the forest where they have all these other holiday trees. She runs past a place where nobody ever goes and comes across this tree that is covered, and also Zero has followed her. I forgot to mention Zero runs after her, and Zero is the dog of Jax. Again, I'll leave pictures of the characters on the screen so you guys know who I'm talking about, so you can follow along, because you know we all know that I'm shit when it comes to reviews. But yeah, she comes across this tree that's been covered with like branches and vines, so it's like it's blocked off, and she's kind of curious as to why it's blocked off, until her and Zero start like moving stuff around and they realize that it's another door, and she's kind of confused. She's like, I didn't think there was nothing else out here, and why is there a door out here and not over there with the other seasons? But on this door, it's the shape of a moon. And she is kind of thinking way back, because her being locked up in the scientist's like home, she's had time to read, so this looks vaguely familiar. She feels like she's read this somewhere in a book. She feels like it's something that's been there since before their time. And what happens is they end up opening the door, they fall through, her and Zero fall through, and this is where they discover that there is another world that is not like any other holidays. It's completely different. It's a dark sky with a bunch of stars, like very glowy stars. It's very pretty. She gets the chamomile lavender scent smell all around her, and it's also feeling very familiar to her. She feels like she's been here before. So as her and Zero pick themselves up, they start walking around the town, and they realize what town this is. It's Dreamtown, Dreamland, Dreamtown. And while she's there, she gets a sense that somebody's watching her. And as soon as she turns around to see who could be watching her, she literally sees this monster man with a long beard swish by. He's singing, he blows sand in her face, takes off, and she's super confused by why this man is blowing sand in her face. And she literally sees him run straight out of the crescent moon door. And as she looks to the ground, she sees the sand there, but she's like, what the heck? So she's running after the man, her and Zero running after the man to like kind of see like what was that all about, what's his deal. And she essentially sees him run towards Halloweentown. So this is where it's gonna get a whole lot crazier. But yeah, so she follows him. He's not really listening to her. He just blew the sand in her face and took off. I think he was expecting something, but didn't stop to really see if anything happened as he blew the sand in her face. So whenever Sally makes it back to Halloweentown, she gets there and she notices that the town is pretty quiet. And as she's walking around, she's starting to see trails of sand, and comes across one of the residents who's asleep and has sand on themselves and like on the ground next to them. She's trying to wake them, but they don't wake up. So she's like, what's going on? Like, again, she's pretty confused, doesn't really know what's going on. She just knows that they're laying here and there's sand all over them. Then she decides to go home to check on Jack to see if he can figure out what's going on, because there's something weird about this mysterious monster man that's running around blowing sand in their faces. And then when she gets home, she finds Jack asleep, same as everyone else in town, with sand all over himself and on the floor. And this is like freaking her out. She's like, what do I do? Is anybody awake? Am I all alone once again? So what she does is she tells Zero, stay here. I'm going to go check the other holiday towns and see if anybody is awake that can help me figure out what is going on. So that's what she does. She goes to each and every holiday, and same thing. Everybody has been put to sleep. So this monster man is moving really quick and he's putting everyone to sleep. And then she makes it to St. Patrick's town, and again, everybody's asleep until she sees a little leprechaun running super fast past her. She's yelling for him, like, wait, stop. Like, how are you awake? How are you awake? And he pretty much tells her, it's because I'm smart and I knew how to hide. And I'm just out here because I'm trying to get my pot of gold, which was like super random. But while she's like talking to him, she's like, can you help me? I need help. And he's like, no, I can't help you, but here's a 4-leaf clover for luck. You might need it. And then he takes off. So Sally is yet again alone, trying to figure out exactly how she can wake everybody up. So she decides that it's probably best for her to go back to Dreamtown, where the monster had came from. And that's exactly what she does. When she goes back, she walks further into the town and notices that there are actually like people in the fields working. And when she gets up close to them, she briefly stops and has a very like jaw-dropping moment, because the person that's standing right in front of her looks almost exactly like her, a rag doll. And she never thought that she would come across anybody that looked like her, because supposedly she was created and felt like she was the only one that looked like this. But no, she is standing in front of somebody that is a rag doll exactly like her, same skin tone, same stitches, and looks almost like her. So she is taken aback, and then as soon as she comes to, she's just like, I need your help. My town is asleep. There's this Sandman creature that has been putting everybody to sleep. And the moment she says this, the worker like runs away from her. Nobody wants to help her in the town. Every time she speaks about like this Sandman, everybody is like running away from her. Nobody wants to help her until the governors of Dreamtown come to her and like, we heard you have been asking around, you know, what's going on, what do you need help with? And then Sally begins to tell them her story and what happened, and they're looking super shocked. But I forgot to mention, when these two governors come up, which is a man and a woman, they come up to her, and Sally instantly like is in complete shock again, because the couple standing in front of her, the woman looks almost identical to her. Same red hair, same blue skin, same stitching, almost identical to each other, like to her. So this is like throwing Sally off, and she's like, do I know y'all? And the woman is like, how can we help you? What's going on? And the woman and the man too are kind of like in shock by what they're seeing and how like Sally looks, but is also like confused as to why she's asking about the Sandman, because nobody talks about the Sandman. And how does she know who the Sandman is, until Sally tells him like, I accidentally opened up the door and he ran out. So they essentially like are like relieved that the Sandman isn't there, because supposedly he's like some bad man that is trying to put everybody to sleep to steal their dreams. That's just what they've known him as. So when Sally is talking to the two people in front of her, they listen to her story or like what's going on, and then they tell her like, I never thought we would see you again. And Sally's just like, what are you talking about? And they were like, you're our daughter. We never thought you would come back home. You've been missing since you were 12 years old. This blew my damn mind when I read that. I'm like, what the fuck? How did she go missing, and why didn't they go after her? But then as we get deeper into the story, we find out that the reason why they couldn't go after her is because they couldn't catch the person that stole her, for one. And then secondly, like, their door was like blocked off, so they weren't able to get out. And even if they found a way to get out, they didn't know where the man took her. So they're sitting there telling Sally, like, Sally's in complete shock too, because she's like, that can't be true. I was created and I've lived in Halloweentown my entire life since I was created. And they were like, oh, so you've been in Halloweentown this whole time? And then they were like, no, you're our daughter that got stolen from us. And whoever stole you has probably altered your memories because you were very young. And the mom is like, I can tell you, like, I remember the day like it was yesterday. We seen this man with the big head, this white man with the big head, and little eyes, and he took off with you. He stole you in the middle of the night and ran off with you. And as soon as they described the man to Sally, she instantly knew who it was, and it was Dr. Finkelstein. What a twisted motherfucker. Yes, he's the one that stole her. He's the one that went into Dreamtown and kidnapped a 12-year-old girl and took her back. And the only reason why she never remembered anything was because he was feeding her poison to alter her memories. So by the time her brain was mush and she remembered nothing, he was able to convince her that he created her for him and she was gonna obey him, and you know, whatever else he had planned. Initially, like in the story, it does mention that he wanted to like raise her as a daughter since he created her, but I think his motives were different. I think they were, and it was kind of weird. Whatever. So yeah, well, when Sally tells, like whenever they tell Sally the true story on like how she went missing and where she belongs, where she's from, that she was never alone, that she's a rag doll from Dreamtown, and the reason why like she wasn't put to sleep like everybody else was because they can't fall asleep with the sand. It doesn't work on them. So that's when Sally's like, no wonder when he blew it in my face, I didn't fall asleep like the way everybody else did, because I'm a rag doll. So I know I jumped a whole lot more. I jumped a lot when it came to talking about the last bits that I just talked about, but there's just so much in the story that I am not trying to really talk about because then this video will be so long. But nonetheless, like, Sally is from Dreamtown. She got kidnapped when she was 12 years old by Dr. Finkelstein, and the reason why he kidnapped her was because he wanted to be taken serious as a scientist. He wanted Halloweentown to take him serious as a scientist, and none of his experiments were going right, so nobody really took him serious until he created Sally, and that's when they finally like took him serious as like a scientist. So yeah, one thing I will tell you, like, there was a moment in the book that Sally's parents tried to deceive her to keep her home but also keep the Sandman out, and they were gonna destroy the door, which they did. And Sally was telling them like, I can't just leave my husband and the people I love and everybody else in the other everyone else in the other holiday towns, just I can't leave them like that. Her parents pretty much told her that there was nothing they could do as far as like waking them up. It's never like, once you're asleep by the Sandman, there's no way for you to be woken up. It's kind of like he eats your dreams until there's nothing left, and then you'll just be stuck in complete black. So Sally's just like, no, I need to figure out a way to save everybody. So what she does is, since her parents ended up destroying the door for her to get out, her mom's like, there's another way you can leave, but it's from the human world. So Sally's like kind of scared about this because, like I said, she's not used to going to other places. She's only known Halloweentown. So she's like, I have to do it. I have to do it. So she ends up leaving through the portal to the human world to try and get back to Halloweentown, and she succeeds. She goes back to Halloweentown, gathers up all her stuff that she needs so that way she can make this very strong potion to put him to sleep, and hopefully once he goes to sleep, it'll wake everybody up. That's what her hopes are. So that's what she does, and that's what happens. She ends up putting this monster to sleep, knocks him out with a heavy dose of whatever poison, sleeping medicine, sleeping tea she made, knocks him out, and everybody slowly starts waking up. And yay, Sally saves the day. So not only does Sally wake everybody up, she also cures the evil Sandman, who was evil because he just couldn't sleep. He has been awake for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So he was very grumpy. He was very grumpy, very tired, couldn't sleep. So in order for him to kind of get some kind of relief was to steal people's dreams. That's really what it seemed like. So yeah, that's it as far as like the book. I'm so over talking about it because if I say any more and get any more detailed about it, like, I might as well have just read the book front to back with you guys. So yeah, honestly, when I was reading the story, it was reading kind of like a middle grade, not gonna lie. I want to say like maybe 12 and up could read this book because, or like even 11 and up, it didn't really give me YA when reading it. And like I said, most of the book talked about how obsessed Sally was with Jack. It didn't get interesting up until she ran off, and I want to say like that was already way past 50% of the book when she ran off, found the door, and discovered everything. Did I think that the end story was really good, like Sally discovering who she was? I thought that was cool. It was like a jaw-dropping moment for me. It was like a jaw-dropping moment for me to realize that Sally was actually like a ragdoll from her own little dream town. Like she literally had a town that her and her family have lived for many, many years. So I liked that. I liked that a lot. I loved the fact that her and Jack got married. So yeah, hopefully I talked enough about this book for you to want to pick it up. I kind of got a little sidetracked at the end of it, not gonna lie, because there's just so much that goes on, from her discovering the door, from her releasing Sandman, from her trying to figure out how to wake everybody up, from her parents not wanting to help her because they don't want the Sandman back in their world, from her just figuring out that she's gonna have to do it by herself, and then waking everybody up, her husband meeting her parents. And yeah, it was a lot, not gonna lie. So I definitely would say I rated this book maybe like a 3-star. That's being generous, not gonna lie. There was just, like I said, some issues with the book, and it just wasn't what I expected. But then again, I didn't have any kind of expectations going into this book. It's like 50-50. I'm really not, like, I'm not lying. Some parts were enjoyable, some parts weren't, some parts were annoying, some parts were pretty interesting. So I mean, that's all I can say. That's all I'm gonna leave it at, is that I rated this book a 3 out of 5 stars. Do I feel like you will enjoy the book? Probably. Like I said, it's 50-50. You'll probably like it, you probably won't. Hopefully I was giving you enough information that'll let you know if you want to read it or not. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna stop talking because I have nothing else more to say. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully I did a good job with the review. If you have any other books that you want me to read and review, if there's something out there that you want to pick up but you're not quite sure, but you want somebody to pick it up and read it so that way you don't have to type of situation, let me know down below. I actually really enjoyed this, not gonna lie, even though you guys know I mention this all the time. I suck at wrap-ups, I suck at reviews, because I want to talk about every single detail. So hopefully I kind of did a little good this video, but if not, I mean, still, I don't mind doing reviews. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.